Hello?
Hello?
What's up? Are you debating?
Oh, I mean, sure.
Cool.
Why
What's
not?
going on? What's your take?
So it says Biden didn't commit crimes. Trump
Yep.
did. So Trump was a actual sitting president
Okay.
who had the right and authority to declassify, whereas as a VP before Biden was in office, he did not have that
Okay.
right.
So the same executive order that governs both of them, they both have the right to declassify, and it goes through a process that's established in that executive order. Second thing, Donald Trump had documents that he admitted on audio tape that he didn't declassify. That's part of that other thing that I said. He had documents, was asked for them back, said he didn't have them, and then showed those same documents off to people. When he did that, he said, as president, I could have declassified them. Now I can't, But this is still a secret. And that's two distinct crimes. So it kind of undermines your entire argument that he says you didn't decline or didn't.
So I would like to see, because I'm not aware of the executive order or whatever you're stating, is that the president and the vice president have the same rights for D-class. My understanding is that D-class is only for the actual sitting president. I would like to see that because that would.
13526. So
Can
it's
you pull it
not
up? Just I
just
don't have a computer at my access. I have kids
Executive
right
Order
now, so I can't.
13526. It creates a uniform standard for safeguarding, classifying, and declassifying national security documents. It's not
When
just the
did that?
VP that it's just not. This went into effect in 2009. It's not, and this is the one that's currently under. It's not just the VP. Other heads of departments can declassify as well.
Yeah, so my
That just
understanding
goes
was
through the
also
process.
that Biden had his Corvette as well as his declassified or his documents, not declassified, but the documents were found not only in his garage next to his Corvette, but also in the what was it, Pennsylvania, like Pennsylvania, a
Yeah, the Penn
university in
Center.
Pennsylvania?
The Penn
Yeah.
Center.
So it was there where there's also like China
So
has
yeah.
access. Like there's people from
So
China who have access to that.
but yeah, it's in
But
a
my
bunch of
understanding is that
boxes. But Mhm.
yes, and then Trump had it locked in Mar-a-Lago, which people don't have access to
So actually, they
without
did.
like
Donald Trump had it in the public part of Mar-a-Lago, in where
is
tens of thousands
is
of people
there
had passed
is
those
there a
documents
public
when they were there.
is there a public part of Mar-a-Lago?
Well, I
Because
would
my
say
understanding is that
the
it
right. So there's his private residence part, and then there's the public club part. He had them in
can you
the
just
club
walk
part.
in?
Can you just walk in? No, but something like 10,000 people passed those documents in
Did
the
they
time they
like
were
go
there.
in and use that restroom?
So some people had access, like janitors had access to the documents in they were in a closet for chairs. It's not like they were, taking due care. Some of them were on a stage as well.
Okay. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it. All I know is that we've got one guy who's got it who actually doesn't even understand what is there and that it's there. And then we've got another guy who has it under much more tight, like a much tighter lock and key.
I would
So
say that documents having access by 10,000 different people is not under tight lock and key. Joe Biden had his in his house that for the most part of his since they've been there have been surrounded by Secret Service and in a box that had been largely not touched. And also the stuff that's in the documents that Joe Biden has are not anywhere remotely close to what Donald Trump had, like in terms of security to the United States.
from when I read the documents, and I have not really kept up on it, but when it initially came out, I did read up on it. These were behind locked doors for Donald Trump. These were not public
Broom
access
closet.
sites.
So it was behind a broom. It was in a broom closet. But the bathroom. They were in a bathroom and on a ballroom stage. So
And
it's not like he did a lot to hide them.
I can guarantee those were not public access sites. On top of that, you have to go
So
through proper security to even
Members,
get into Mar-a-Lago.
only 2,500
Like,
people were vetted out of the 10,000 that passed through there.
do you think that they actually had access to that bathroom and
I don't think it
it was
matters because if your argument is who keeps it secure, I would say that a handful of documents surrounding the Afghanistan withdrawal in Biden's basement is significant. And I would also say that most of the documents that were found in the Penn Center were put there accidentally. And actually, I have a follower that their son-in-law was interviewed by the special counsel because they worked for Biden. And yeah, they were moved there on accident.
So I actually have I do have deep concerns. I'm not here to like fight with you. I do have deep concerns about this. So with the Penn Center specifically, that's in a university library. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, so the Penn Center is a specific area that they have like keypads and stuff that goes in. Like they don't keep track of those, and that was a concern. But nobody knew that these documents were actually there.
Okay, so we've got
you're
documents.
confusing that with the University of Delaware, and the University of Delaware was not Joe Biden's fault. He gifted a bunch of documents to the University of Delaware. Something like 5 of them ended up being classified. But he had handed them off to staffers to actually go through and see if there was any declassified documents within them. So
We've got keypads at a public place versus Mar-a-Lago, which has
no
security.
So I'm gonna go
in.
ahead and stop you right there. The documents that Joe Biden had were nowhere near as sensitive as the documents that Donald Trump had, and the documents that were in the Penn Center had to do with Ukraine. And it had to do with the Iranian nuclear deal. Sensitive documents, no doubt. But to say that a couple of documents, a handful of documents at a box at the Penn Center, which, by the way, requires keycard access to get into, and mixed in with a ton of boxes that don't have them, not the same thing. Not remotely the same thing. And the reason that they didn't identify these, by the way, is because at the Penn Center, a lot of the documents were in a folder that said Biden's eyes only. And so nobody checked in there. They were classified documents within that folder that nobody went in to check because it said.
Do you really think when it says Biden eyes only, like people didn't look at it?
That was the reason that it didn't get identified. And they asked the staffers that worked there, why did this not get gone through? And they said because it said Biden's eyes only for confidentiality purposes, we didn't go through it because the classification markets were on the inside.
For real, though, like people didn't look at it?
Well, yes. What would be the reason for someone to lie about that?
Curiosity.
Why would someone lie about there being classified documents in it, though?
I mean, wouldn't
if they found classified documents? If they went in there and found classified documents, why would they not just be like, yeah, we found classified documents?
I don't know. Everything about both sides of this is wildly suspicious to me, and I just don't understand.
So Donald Trump kept documents that were detrimental to national security on every level.
But
not
as
only
a
our
president,
national security, not only our
as a
national
president-
security, but other countries' national security. He's not given special privileges as a president, no matter how many times you say
That's untrue. That's untrue.
No, it's not. What special privileges do you think he has?
He has the declassification privilege that nobody
He did
else
not
has.
declassify any of these documents.
I do believe that they were, or at least most of them.
No, they weren't, because he admitted that they weren't in an audio recording.
Where can I find that? Because I really
So the audio
truly
recording
want
is
the proof.
online. The audio recording is online, but I will read it to you. It's page 3. In July 2021, at Trump National Golf Club at Bedminster, New Jersey, the Bedminster Club, during an audio recorded meeting with a writer, a publisher, and 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed a security clearance, Trump showed and described a, quote, plan of attack that Trump said was prepared for him by the DOD and a senior military official. Trump told the individuals that the plan was, quote, highly confidential and secret. Trump also said, quote, as president, I could have declassified it, and now I can't, but this is still a secret. There is an audio recording of him saying exactly that. It's a bit rough, but you can go look it up for yourself.
Now I do know that he's had the conviction in New York with the whole real estate situation, and he's been banned from doing business in New York for 3 years now. But other than that, what else has he actually been convicted of?
Defrauding
he's been accused.
Defrauding a children's charity.
When was this?
this was prior to his presidency, Trump University defraudment, the Trump Organization tax evasion with 17 felony counts.
Since he's been president. Obviously. The New York one, yes, but they've been going after him since the presidency. What has come to fruition since then? Because he's been accused of like 1,000 things.
Those other ones happened before he was president. The time frame for the tax fraud case, most of it happened before he was president. The E. Jean Carroll case happened before he was president. The guy has 4,000 lawsuits against him. He has over 200 liens. He's the most sued person in New York City.
Okay. And this is me being truly curious. Like, I'm a mom. I worked full time up until a couple months ago. Like, I have not been able to follow this stuff as closely as I would really like to. But I am curious because I'm not I'm not pleased with where our country is. And I know that my paychecks when I was working up until just a few short months ago were incredibly higher.
Cool.
Before
I just want to ask this really quick.
Or when Trump was in office versus now. Yeah.
All the evidence is against you on this. Wages have gone up. Unemployment is down. Jobs are up. The list goes up. We have the lowest unemployment of all G7 countries. But I am curious. So we have a guy that attempted to overthrow the United States government that stated outright he wants to be a dictator, and you're willing to vote for that because you got a few bucks extra in your paycheck. You want to destroy democracy for that reason?
No, that's not at all what I'm saying. So I'm a Christian, and there's a lot that I felt was better. Not only monetarily, my paycheck itself went up when Trump was in office. My taxes were lower. I come from a low income family, but I don't believe there's a lot of things as far as like the far left like believes in that I don't believe in. I'm not talking about the middle of the road because like I'm in the middle of the road. We're talking about like abortion and things like that, like abortion up until birth, and then 28 days later.
No, leftists don't believe in that.
I'm talking about the really, really, really far left. Like, to be clear, I'm not talking about
even the really, really, really far left doesn't believe that. But if you want to go for the extremes, then you're on the side that wants to put people to unalive for getting abortions. Like, that's the side you're going to side
No, and I've worked in healthcare for a very long time. Like, I'm not a person who doesn't believe in proper healthcare. Like, again, to be clear.
The 28 days after is a complete lie that was made up. Nobody's advocating for that. That's called murder.
There was a bill in California that did not pass. Yes, there was.
It had to do.
It did not pass.
No,
there were people who wanted it.
No. The bill had to do with parents that had to make difficult decisions because of the infant's viability, that they would not be criminally prosecuted. That was the problem. There was an issue with the law that needed to be solved. It has nothing to do with abortion. It had to do with children being born that had serious issues that they had to make a life and death decision on.
They're trying to put it into the same sort of category. And those are very different things. To be clear, I don't think anybody who has a child who is terminally ill should be prosecuted for letting them pass if that's appropriate.
That's what the bill addressed.
To be clear, I read it myself. There were some excerpts in it that were messed up. It was very messed up.
They were trying to protect women in their ability to choose. There is nobody that's advocating for viable fetuses to be aborted in the 7th, 8th, 9th month. It just doesn't happen. And when it does happen,
Tommy, you're wrong there, but yeah, I mean,
and when it does happen, it has to do with viability of the fetus or danger to the mother.
Whatever you say, Tommy.
Can you show me where it happens?
I can't get to my computer right now because I have sleeping children in my house where my computer is. So.
Okay, I'll wait. Well, then you're just saying stuff.
Okay, I'm just saying it. People can look it up for themselves.
Because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
You're telling me it doesn't happen, that abortions don't happen in the last trimester?
No. They do happen. They do happen in the regards of whether it's not, it has to do with the health of the woman or the non-viable fetus. It does happen in those instances. It doesn't happen with what you're saying at all. I do have to say that there's a difference between delivering early, inducing labor, versus an abortion, which... An abortion, a proper
Elective abortion goes in and kills the baby.
So
That's very
that
different
does not
than
happen in the
inducing
third
labor.
trimester. That
Yes, it
does not
does.
happen in the third trimester.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. It is a
I'm
boogeyman. It's a made up scenario that does not happen in
I'm the
practice.
boogeyman.
People do not carry a child for 8, 9 months just to abort it. It's not how that works.
In a perfect world, they don't, but in the real world, it does.
Okay, can you go and find me a citation for that, please?
Somebody on your team, I can't get to my computer.
What am I supposed to look up?
Tell me it doesn't happen because I would love to live in a world where it doesn't happen.
I would love to live in your world where I could figure out if my facts are correct. So if you could enlighten me, what am I supposed to look up?
I don't know. I guess late term abortion rates. Where and when does it happen? That'd be a great thing for you to Google right now. You've got a computer right in front of you.
Where am I?
I don't know where you're based out of. I'm in a Democrat state, but
Less than 1% of abortions take place in the third trimester.
less than 1%, which means
Right.
it does happen.
And do you know why they happen?
Well, are we talking about abortions or are we talking about early deliveries? Because those are two different things.
Do you know why? So, do you know why people get abortions?
Tell me why, Tommy. Tell me why. Seeing as how
Because
I've
the
worked in healthcare
viability
for
of
so
the
long.
fetus, because the viability of the fetus, or because the woman's
So,
health.
do we go in and kill the baby or do we deliver the baby in the third trimester?
Well, I mean, what are you talking about? We're talking about if someone has to abort pregnancy. Like what you're saying is from abortion, like terminating pregnancy, terminating the fetus. That's what you're saying.
Terminating the fetus would be different than inducing labor or delivering the baby via an emergency C-section. Those are two very different things.
So I do remember this really quick. So, 1 second. So I do remember this. This is the two reasons that there's three reasons. One, they learn new information such as the health of the fetus. Another one would be their own health. Or 3, because of barriers to abortion access, often as a result of state policies. So in other words, you've created the situation for that to happen because of the abortion restriction access aspect. But it just doesn't happen. You're talking about 1%, and most of those, I would say pretty much all of them, are women's health or the health of the fetus.
Well, there's a lot of people who are like commenting about like C-section as abortion. That's not true. So abortion.
No, that is.
No. To be clear, that is not the same thing, and that's where we're having
just means terminating a pregnancy. You're talking specifically about terminating the fetus, which in this instance,
so we're having two
different
conversations, and I'd like to be clear about what I'm talking about. So having a C-section or an induction of labor is not the same thing as terminating a pregnancy.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, you're terminating
a pregnancy. Terminating a pregnancy means you are going in and you are ending. I hate to use these words because I want to make sure I'm clear, but it is cutting off the blood supply. It is cutting off the life force of a potential human, which
claims
I think
of abortions.
Is a human.
Awesome. No, you're wrong.
There's actually two different things. You're talking about
No, we're not talking about two. We're talking about the same thing.
Abortions.
We're talking about the same thing.
Spontaneous abortions and therapeutic abortions are two very different things.
Please stop.
Spontaneous. I'm a medical professional. Spontaneous means that your body has.
Now you're muted. Thanks. Awesome. By the way, there's 10 in the kick pool. I'm going to go ahead and talk now since I couldn't get you to stop. Thanks. Abortion is termination of a pregnancy. What you're talking about is termination of fetus, which is a semantical argument that I don't even want to have. So I don't know why you're hyper-focused on it and why you keep yapping about it. But I would like to read this, please. Claims of abortions occurring, quote, moments before birth or even after birth are false. These scenarios do not occur, nor are they legal in the United States. I don't know how we're supposed to trust your judgment on anything when you think that that's a reality. So again, like you've just made up a scenario that does not happen, that you have not established happens, so that you can try and target women having abortions. and I just want to point this out, right? Like, it's not like you're super informed on the topic, right? It's not like you're super informed on it, clearly. So I don't know why you think that you're like objectively a good arbiter of this. I sent her the request to unmute. You're muted. You need to press the mute button. I sent you the request.
May I speak?
So I'm going to read that again, okay?
May I speak?
About what? What you're saying is not true. Nothing you've said's accurate.
So there are therapeutic abortions and there are spontaneous
Oh my God, I
abortions.
don't care. It's a semantical argument and I don't care.
If you'd
you
rather
made the
not
claim
talk to
that
me,
abortions
that's okay.
occur. I would rather you actually stay on topic.
Well, that's the topic we got on.
No, it's not. You were having a semantical argument and I don't care. I have never cared. We were talking about abortion and whether or not aborting a fetus happens. And then you turn it into a semantical argument about what qualifies as an abortion, even though you're wrong. We're talking, does abortion happen in the third trimester or moments before birth or after birth? The answer to that is no. That doesn't happen. Nobody's advocating for that either. What we are advocating for, and by the way, as someone that's pro-choice, I am against abortion. That's just a moral personal thing for me. You can be pro-choice and against abortion. It has to do with, do I want to enforce my beliefs on someone else's body? And the answer to that is no. No, I don't. Because
May
I
I tell
think
you
that
my
that's a
opinion
personal
on the matter?
choice.
May I tell you my opinion on the matter?
Sure.
I don't believe the government should legislate what you do with your body. I don't think I have any right to tell anybody else what to do with their body. So I'm very much the government not having any fucking say in what you do with your body, no matter how I feel about it.
So you're pro-choice then?
I am pro the government staying the fuck out of your information. That's
Which
what
would
I
mean
am.
that you're pro-choice.
I am pro not having an opinion on somebody else's body.
So you're if you're for the government not writing legislation to target women, you would be pro-choice.
I am pro them keeping their nose out of it, period.
So
I'm not pro them advocating for it. I'm not pro them legislating against it.
Awesome. So you're against somewhere like Alabama, them writing legislation stopping women from getting abortions.
I don't think abortions should happen, but it's not my right to say that.
So you're pro-choice. Are you against Alabama restricting all abortions? Yes or no?
I would love to live in a world where abortions are never wanted or needed. I would love that.
Just ask. That's not an answer to my question.
I'm not a legislator.
If Alabama came out and banned all abortions, would you be against that? Yes or no?
That's a hard question to answer, but I'm not a legislator and I'm not running for government.
It's a question that you can answer because it has to do with your belief system.
I am avoiding that question because my belief is that abortions shouldn't happen. But again,
okay, so you believe that abortion shouldn't happen, but you don't believe that Alabama should put laws in to restrict women from getting them.
I don't think the government should be involved in it.
So that's a yes. You would be against it.
Sure.
Okay, then you're pro-choice.
But not really. Like,
yes, really. Yeah, that's what's pro-choice. Yes.
I'm super conflicted on that subject, to be clear. Like, it's
that's
hard
pro-choice.
for me.
You are against
really
the government
hard for me. Yeah.
legislating women's bodies. That's pro-choice.
I'm very against that, but I also don't love the idea of people having late-term abortions, which I know is rare.
Well, congratulations. They don't. They don't. Awesome. Now you're fully pro-choice. They don't.
There are places where it happens. But that's the whole thing is like there are people on the extremes on both ends. And that's really like the biggest problem when it comes to legislating this whole situation is that you've got people who want to there are a few people, be it few, there are people who want to legislate it to where you can have an abortion up until the moment of birth. There are few people.
That's not what they're advocating for. No.
But there's also people on the opposite side.
Hold on a second.
Who say never.
Listen,
and
as someone that
I was
believes
a teen mom. I get it.
Cool. As someone that believes that we should not be legislating abortion in any way, It's not because I want people to have abortions right before birth. That's not why. It's because I understand that the government, but listen, it's because I understand that that doesn't happen. The government, and giving them the ability to legislate women's bodies can kill people. People will not have access to abortions when they need it. And this has already happened across the states where they have a doctor on the phone with a lawyer. Has this patient become critical enough that we can abort? Because this person's license is on the line, and this lawyer and this doctor could potentially go to jail. That's the problem, is that you create a system where if a woman does need an abortion, suddenly it becomes an issue of, is this medically necessary, as opposed to, what is the professional opinion of the doctors?
And there is a disconnect. There is a disconnect with understanding what's an abortion and what is considered an induction of labor. There is a disconnect there, because if you're somebody who is in trouble, let's say you have super high blood pressure while you're pregnant, and you're 30 weeks pregnant, at that point, you can choose, and even earlier than that, preeclampsia, you can choose to be induced, and that's not considered an abortion in any way, shape, or form in any state that I'm aware of.
Whatever. We're
that's
not talking
called
about
induction of labor. But that's the thing, is
you
there
are aborting
people who are commenting.
Right.
There are people who are commenting who think that that's considered an abortion, and that is not. But that's not the same thing.
Right. Listen for a second. You are saying that you don't want to equate it to being aborting a pregnancy as being an aborting a fetus. Whatever. That's fine. You can make that. It's a weird semantical argument. We're strictly talking about termination of fetus. That's what we're talking about.
Termination means death. That's not
I'm
induction
aware
of labor.
Okay, but that still qualifies as an abortion, termination of pregnancy. The outcome is a different situation.
That does not.
So I don't know why
that is not an abortion. There is a spontaneous abortion and there's a therapeutic abortion. A spontaneous abortion is when you have a miscarriage.
As an abortion.
That is not. Tommy,
and it is important.
True.
It isn't. Yes, it is, and it is important to understand that. Listen for a second.
It's really important for you to understand that what you're saying is not true.
Would you like me to pull up the definition for you?
Absolutely, 100%. Please pull it up. Please look into it, because I promise you, after 15 years in healthcare, working at a very liberal company for 13 of those years, it is not true. That is not an abortion. If you deliver early, it is an induction of labor. If the baby is dead, it's an abortion, whether you lost it via a natural miscarriage.
The deliberate termination of a human pregnancy.
That is a termination, not induction of labor. Those are two different
You're terminating
things.
A pregnancy.
Terminating a pregnancy means killing the baby or removing a dead baby. It does not mean induction of labor. Those are two different things. Please understand me.
Can you please stop? I don't know why. Number one, I don't know why you're harping over this. Number one. Number two, you're wrong. It is termination of a pregnancy, as I just read to you.
You can be wrong if you want to. That's fine.
Okay. Well, yeah, you said read the definition, so I did. Awesome.
That is termination. Look up the medical definition of termination.
Listen, I don't care. This has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Okay. Well, you have a great night. Pleasure talking to you as always.
Wow.
I don't know how to end this. Just let me go.
No, thanks. I'm going to let you just flounder there until you figure it out. John, appreciate the Cash App. Thank you. John, can we get some dubs and drumsticks in the chat for John? I got 10 in the kick pool, by the way. I don't know why she was harping on the definition of how she wanted to classify an abortion versus non-abortion. I don't understand what the reason is, because we're not talking about this in any context. That's a completely separate semantical argument that she wants to have. It is an abortion. It's a termination of a pregnancy. Is it like a termination of the fetus? No. Those are two different things. And so, I don't know. It's frustrating. And I don't understand. But anyways, I guess she's pro-choice. But it's weird that she's like, I think the problem is like, oh, this is what your side believes. But it's a complete mischaracterization of what our position is, right? a complete mischaracterization